Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Pot Smoker's Bible. My name is Zion. I'm the author of the Pot Smoker's Bible, which contains the prophetic book of Zion, where I get my name and authority. It comes from the Ketuvim, or Old Testament, of the Hebrew Bible, Christian Bible, I should say. I use the King James Version to put together the prophecy of Israel because it's been in my family for generations, and because it has the English translation that best is suited for the purposes of my book. I mean, there's no other translation that says it in exactly the Zionite way, which is why I use it. Um, and today I want to talk about how, oh my God, how current events are in line with the prophecy completely. I I can't believe that the evangelicals in this world who have studied the Bible all their lives are doing what they're doing. But then on the other hand, I understand it perfectly. They're idiots and fools. That's what the Bible calls them. So, it's like if I call you an idiot and a fool, I'm doing it because that's what the Bible says you are. Because that's what the prophecy says you are. And the prophecy is the truth. Don't ask me how. Well, computer projections is pretty much how they did it, I'm pretty sure. Chaos theory and quantum physics and projecting statistics is exactly how the Gray figured out what the end of our society would bring based on the preset parameters that they had instilled into the system. And the one thing that I have to point out here is human nature is what drives this. Okay? Just because the prophecy says that something is going to happen doesn't mean it absolutely has to happen until it becomes manifest. Which just is to say that the book was written under the assumption that if everything went naturally, that this is where we would end up giving the parameters. And boy, did we ever line up and follow the plan, which really boggles my mind because the people who have had the prophecy in front of them for their whole entire lives, they grew up with it. They went to church every Sunday. They listened to the preacher tell them about this their whole life, and they got it wrong. How could they get it wrong? Myth, false news, um, following what humans think, not what the Bible says. And that's where the prophecy inlines itself. It's based on what humans do. And humans always think they're right, everybody else is wrong. Because they have this, they're better than everybody else. They have money. And it's like, and so the prophecy was put into a configuration that put all this in perspective. This is what men will really do. And if we put this guy in charge, if we find this guy who is just so base and immoral that he isn't going to give a fuck about laws, only about himself, well, then what would happen if he was put into power? Ta-da! 2020 is exactly what happened. Now, he, of course, is Donald J. Trump. And the prophecy starts with him. Now, the timing of the prophecy is another thing that just kind of blows my mind. Because as I was piecing together the final version of prophecy in prison, I was literally watching Donald Trump become elected. And as I was putting this all together, I knew that the very first element of prophecy, of the fulfillment of prophecy, would be the election of the basest men into power, Donald J. Trump. Nobody is more base than him. Of course, now, everybody who follows him is like, nah, dang, yeah. You just wait and see what he's going to do between now and January 20th. Because that is going to be, oh God, it's not going to be pretty, people. The prophecy says that a great northern nation will be undermined by the empowerment of the basest of men, who will undermine everything and destroy this great northern nation that is created from the sides of the earth. That's exactly what's happening. The mega march last Saturday was the beginning, and the violence was beginning last Saturday too. It's going to escalate. It's going to get worse. The more Biden is declared victorious, the more Trump's people will be activated to do their worst. And there is, I'm, I can't, I'm torn between the thought that the Republicans are actually behind this coup, or that they're just too stupid to realize that they're putting him in a position to do this. Now, there's indications from a couple of different sources that seem to indicate that maybe the Republicans are part of the coup, because none of them are willing to concede that Biden won. And several of the top officials have literally come out and said there's going to be a second Trump administration. How did Pompeo say? A smooth transition to a second Trump administration, even after Biden won. This is the beginnings of a coup. Now, whether the coup fails or succeeds doesn't really matter. Not for us, anyway. Not for the prophecy. Because it is the destruction of, it's the Civil War that starts the creation of Zion. Because as America is killing each other, while the Republicans and Democrats are killing each other, anybody who's smart is just going to stay home and say, oh, we're just going to wait and see what happens, and we'll deal with it next spring. Because right now we have something more important to deal with, and that's COVID-19. That's why this is the winter of our discontent. Because megas are discontent because Trump lost. Democrats are discontent because they have to fight for what they've won. And we're all discontent because so many people are dying. And it's just going to get worse. It's too late to change anything. I knew at Sturgis just how bad this winter was going to be. I'm actually, I thought it wouldn't take as long for it to spread as much as it has. But apparently it does take time for the spread to spread. But see, what happened was Trump convinced all of his stupid, fucked up bikers, white supremacists, to go to Sturgis. Now, I really gotta say, you're anybody who went to Sturgis who uses marijuana, don't come crying to me on the other side when you're dead and you realize, oh fuck, I could have had it all if I'd just worn a fucking mask. So it just like boggles my mind that there are that many potheads on Trump's side of things. So I have a question for all you Trump idiots, whatever you want to call yourself. If you had to choose between Trump and drugs, what would you choose? Would you follow Trump to hell if you had to give up pot for it? What's more important to you? Your lifestyle or Trump? Because this is my call to all the Trump idiots out there who use drugs. Fight the good fight, guys. Trump's an idiot. Politics sucks. Money sucks. We don't need them. There's a better way. Trust your drugs, dude. Because your drugs are the one thing in this world that's never done you wrong. Unless, of course, you let it do you wrong. Yeah, it's like people who use drugs, if they become addicted, it's because they have an underlying problem that they're not dealing with, that they're covering it up with the drugs. That's most of us. But then you're placing your hope on a man that's never even drank coffee, let alone smoke pot. So why are you following a redneck? You don't need a redneck to tell you what's right and wrong. You got this voice in your head that you hear every time you get high. Listen to that voice. Don't listen to Trump. Because Trump is going to kill you. Or he's going to get you killed while you kill innocent people. Because there's not a person in America that's guilty enough. There's not a Democrat who is guilty of anything more than a Republican is guilty of. If you believe that Democrats are evil, God, Democrats are just a flip coin. But the flip side of that coin, it's your back half. You are as evil. If you're a Republican, you're just as evil as the Democrats are. Probably more so because you're stupid enough to follow an idiot, psychopath like Trump. So you need to decide which side of which war you're on. Are you an idiot white supremacist who wants to enrich the wealthy and subjugate the poor, even though you are the poor? Or are you going to stay true to who you are? Because you're a drug user. You're not a Trump idiot. You're not a Republican. You're not a Democrat. You're a drug user. Be true to who you really are. So everybody out there who does drugs, take a good hard look at who you are. And ask yourself, does Biden have my back? Does Trump have my back? Or am I on my own, as I've always been? Because that's it. You're on your own. You've always been. Because believe me, if Trump hates people who do drugs, we are the scum of the earth to him. He has never even drank coffee. He's never smoked a cigarette. He's never had an alcoholic drink. God knows he's never done a drug, or so he says. I don't believe that for a minute. For all I know, he's a fucking raving alcoholic. But that's beside the point. And the point is, there are three sides to the American equation: Republican, Democrat, and poor. Which are you? If you're poor, abandon your nemesis. Because corporate, 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 corporate. Neither of these two is going to give you what you need. So may the Great watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm. And may they teach you right from wrong. May you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light the unicorn way. Find your joy and pursue it. Make that your happiness. If you do drugs, enjoy it. You have every right and reason to. Believe me, I know. I wrote the book. So, I'll see you later. Because you know me, I'll never say goodbye.